Shalom, shalom. Most High, I give all praises, glory, and honor to the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. My name is Brother Napak from the Camp Prophets in Babylon, down here in Tempe, Florida. And I want to give up honor to the elders and apostles to Great Millstone, who teach and rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect who was listening in. And I want to get into a quick lesson. All right, and I'm going to title this lesson, somewhere around the lines of 2/3 don't have access to the true knowledge, all right, or to the gospel, okay, because they don't have the spirit, They're not spiritual. Instead, they're carnal and they're, of this world, The Bible, considers them the congregation of the dead, they're dead men walking, as some would say. All right, because spiritually they're dead. All right, even though physically and carnally they're walking and alive, spiritually they are dead, man. Okay. So I just want to get straight into it. This is 1 Corinthians. Salakia. 1 Corinthians 2 and verse 12 in the NLT says, "And we have received Yahweh's spirit, and not the world's spirit, so we can know the wonderful things Yahweh has freely given us." All right, so we have received the Lord, Yahweh's spirit, man. All right, not the spirit of the world, man, but the spirit that the Lord has enabled us to receive, man. All right, because, like I said, all right, not everybody has access to this true knowledge and understanding. The Lord, blocks them from it. But the Lord also, open the opportunity for the man that he wants. All right. He opens that opportunity. That light shines upon that man, and he can receive that spirit. But not every Jake can do that because they're not spiritual. All right. They don't have the spirit on them. To even understand or comprehend, the gospel and the understanding. Okay. So, and it does come to the point where, they run into the truth or encounter. They encounter the truth. Jake always turn offensive. All right. Or feel like it's an offense. All right. Because the demons that they deal with, it doesn't like the light. And this truth, this gospel is the light. It has that light where it shines upon, those in the dark. And it's either they come out of the dark and join the light, or they run from the light. And majority of Jake will run from it because they can't receive it. It says, when we tell you these things, we do not use words that come from human wisdom. Instead, we speak words given to us by the Spirit. All right. So when we speak, all right, and when Jake encountered the prophets and come across the truth, you're not hearing, words that's just coming from human knowledge or what these brothers learned from in the world when they were in the world. No. All right. This is what the Spirit has dialed in our spirits. Okay. We're speaking words given to us by the Spirit. All right, the Lord, the Spirit that the Lord we was given access to. We speak of those words, man. All right, so it's not just a whole bunch of BS, man. We're speaking truth, life. All right, the things that we bring out and prophesy, those are lively words, man. All right, and if you choose to listen to them or not, okay, It doesn't really affect those men. All right, because Jake think, oh yeah, you need everybody can get. No, nah, man. You know, we ultimately go out there to look for the elect, the ones that are able to have access to this true knowledge. All right, the rest of you niggas, man, you're just undesirables. We don't really care too much. If you don't get it, you don't get it, bro. You just go on about your life until you get struck by a nuke, and then you're gonna get it. That's how we see it. All right, our people gonna get it. We know y'all gonna get it. It just you're gonna have to get it through death, through pain, death by pain. You know, get it through nukes. All right, get it by being judged here, by catch a judgment here. All right, so later on in the kingdom, you know, you be back in your right mind. So you don't really too much focus on if Jake can get it or not. We just focus on the elect getting it so we can get out of here. All right. It says, instead we speak words given to us by the Spirit, using the Spirit's words to explain spiritual truth. So we use the Spirit's words, not our own. All right. That's why, I mean, brothers teach, brothers pray before they teach. Ask the Lord, all right, to dial within them the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, to edify and to enlighten and, you know, speak life into, you know, the ones listening. All right, speak the Lord's truth. Speak the Lord's words. All right. And that's why when brothers do speak, you can tell that, you know, well, when you teach, for instance, you know, a lot of brothers experience this. When you teach, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't feel like you. It doesn't feel like you're the one teaching. You know, you're coming up with different type of words and, you know, examples and all different type of things that, you know, you start to teach yourself with. All right. These things, you know, are starting to flow out of your mouth, and it's like you're listening. You know, it's like you're listening to yourself, and you're being, you know, edified through your own speaking, because ultimately it's the Spirit of the Lord died within you. Okay, to speak the words of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It says, but people who aren't spiritual can't receive these truths from Yahweh's Spirit. So those who aren't spiritual, you carnal niggas, 2/3 J, you can't receive the truth. You can't receive the truth from the Lord's Spirit, man. Nor can you understand it, nor can you comprehend it, you know. So, like I said, you know, the first thing those Jake do is get offended, man. All right? They get offended. All right, and the truth, get offended of the word. They start mocking and scoffing and becoming scorners. Just marking themselves for destruction. All right? Because they can't get the word. Okay? It says, it all sounds foolish to them, and they can't understand it. For only those who are spiritual can understand what the Spirit means. So it all sounds foolish, a joke, like a game, like we just doing this for a hobby, and we have nothing else to do in our lives, and, you know, Jake just bored and just thought to go out on highways and byways and to teach, you know, the doctrine, the truth. You know, that's how they look at it, bro. That's why they tell you to, you know, oh, go get a job or all these different things, because they look at it as, you know, this is all you have, which ultimately it is. This is all we value, okay? This is all we value. Now, we have things. Brothers got jobs, brothers got a house, brothers got cars and different things. Not like Jake just, you know, living on the street. This is the only thing that we value. And they feel it within our spirits, man. They can feel that. We value that over everything. All right? So that's why they think we have nothing. That's why they think we don't have jobs, because they can feel how much we value the truth. All right? And ultimately, they have never committed themselves to something like that ever in their lives. Okay? It says, it all sounds foolish to them, and they can understand it. For only those who are spiritual can understand what the Spirit means. Those who are spiritual can evaluate all things, but they themselves cannot be evaluated by others. It says, so those who are spiritual can evaluate all things, judge all things, but Jake can't do it in return, because ultimately they're the ones being judged, man. They're the ones that's going off. They're the ones that's being in sin. We're all in sin, but the Lord has it where his men, all right, are trying to come back from that. All right? Are trying to repent from our sins for our imperfection. All right? So we can be perfect. So the Lord is seeing that, and the Lord is enabling us to be able to gain this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, gain the spiritual truths that we need, all right, in order to, hold on, it's a lot there. But the Lord has enabled us to gain that this truth, all right, in order to become, all right, of his ministry, and gain that salvation and have that perfect body, that perfect mind, all right. But the Lord's putting us through the trial. It says, 2 Corinthians 4 and verse 4, it says, in whom the power of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. All right, so Esau Edom hath blinded the minds and deceived the minds of these people that believe not. So their mind's so focused on the philosophies and the teachings of Esau, all right, which is allowing them to continue to stay in sin and be a nigga, all right, which, only way they can get out of that is if the Lord enabled them to. If the Lord gave them access to the life. That's why it says, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. All right, so lest that light is able to shine upon you, all right, and you gain the gospel, then ultimately you're just going to be a part of the 2/3 niggas, man. And you can't get it. That's all it is to it. All right? And the NLT, it says, Satan, who is the god of this world, has blinded the minds of those who don't believe. They are unable to see the glorious light of the good news. They don't understand this message about the glory of Mashiach, who is the exact likeness of Yahweh. So they don't understand the message. They don't understand the gospel. All right, because their mind is blinded, man. Blinded within darkness. They can't see spiritually. They can only see physically. All right, but the Lord has enabled us to see spiritually, man. The Lord giving us the light through our spirits. All right, so we can see through our spirits, man. And that's how we know when Jake is off, when Jake ain't right. All right, that's how we know when Esau the devil, is trying to play his wicked schemes to get over on you, because you can sense it through the spirit and see it through the spirit, man. All right. So, hey, man, I just want to get into a quick lesson on that, because I was meditating on that in the spirit, man. Just to give you Akim a message. Lord willing, this message was edifying to the hopeful elect to the ones listening in. And I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua.